Ashe Boru, Ashe Boyesha Wishishe, Obeato Borumunfum, long life and prosperity. Now, this is part two of the video series of the prophecies according to the Yoruba Coastal Association of Cuba for the world. Once again, I emphasize that the planet Earth has different planetary grids. There's a different Odu for each part of the world, but we're stemming from this information from Cuba to the world. Well, last thing we discussed was basically the knowledge of the herbs, right? The familiarity with the herbs. Also, the significance and importance of maintaining our traditions, because one generation can be, we could lose our traditions in that regard, in that respect. Now, in this video, I'm gonna simply translate and reveal the prophecies mentioned specifically. It states Osobu Akoba Lowo Araye Oromila Onire. What that means simply put, is circumstances or situations that can be misinterpreted by our minds, especially in a negative environment, creating tragedies, irreparable tragedies. And he who saves is Oromila. Now, this is very broad because keep in mind, according to the United Nations, the estimates elaborated, by the Worldometer, there's 7.8 billion people on the planet Earth. Now, not everyone has the same life. Not everyone has the same so-called tragedies, right? So it's not the same medicine or advice for everyone, right? Okay, everyone has a different circumstance, situation in their lives. But I'm going to literally break down and explain who Oromila is, so we could probably understand a little bit what that means. So Oromila is characterized as being the divine minister or Orisha, who is the witness, the visual witness of everything that was created by Olodumare, or the divine source, seen and unseen worlds. Now, there's a traditional story or narrative in Ifa culture discussing the creation story in the divine source's role in creating everything that exists. Well, Olodumare, when he created heaven and earth, right, to create this, he hired 3 divine messengers to be sent to earth. And they're as follows: Agbon, which translates in English as wisdom; Imo, which translates in English as knowledge; and Oye, which translates in English as understanding. So, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. So when they came to earth, unfortunately, the human beings did not give them a warm welcome. They shunned the wisdom and knowledge and understanding of God, and so they decided to go back to heaven, or in our culture we call it Orun. In the previous video I discussed Orun, what Orun means, but it's simply heaven in our culture. Then Olodumare, after a long time, decided to try again. So he sent the 3 divine messengers, and as they descended to earth, they created a resounding sound that sounds like this. Oh, this theoretical sound is the confirmation of creation and all that exists. And to cross-reference the culture from India, everyone's familiar with that, the Om, right? But in Nepal, we also have that idea too, which is interesting. Well, I'm going to break down Oromila itself. Oro means fall, something that fell. Emi means breath. Ella means the essence of creation of the universe, the spirit. So in other words, Oromila to combine is simply the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the spiritual essence of all that exists and does not exist. So this literally encompasses what Oromila is. So as Oromila descended, he gave each person an advice to follow according to their own path. So you can imagine the 7 point, there's a lot of people on the planet, so each one has a particular advice. So in order for us to nullify a so-called tragedy, right, I stress for initiates, Ikofan, Awafakan, to review your odus, because everyone has a particular, a specific life in circumstance. For people who have obtained Alapaktori, or meaning crowned Orisha, Baba Orisha, your Orishas, review your previous initiations, review the advice that the Orishas gave you in your Itan. For Babalaos, Ifar priests, Apektabis, review your Odus, because therein lies the information. Now, for non-initiates and initiates alike, I stress to get a reading from Odomila this year, because Odomila is the one that saves, both in America and Cuba. The Odus, even though the Odus differed, but Odomila in both cases was the one that saved. In other words, the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the spiritual essence of the unseen worlds and seen worlds is the one that we contact to guide humanity. So I'm gonna have a link on the bottom, and it's gonna explain, where you could a Facebook account. You could DM me for an appointment for a reading. And for those who are initiated and want a fresh reading or want to review their Odus or information, I could expound on that and help you a little bit. So this is what is stressing. Also, it's not a lighter note, but this also Odu represents cadavers decomposing. It represents where people were not buried. In other words, unfortunately, it is talking about even what's going on today, the time of war, a lot of war. There's going to be a lot of death tolls, unfortunately, where there's not even be space to bury. This is not just the war itself. This could even be genocide. This could be civil wars. This could be, because the different countries have different conflicts and situations. This could even be within the family, where an argument could arise, and it could even get to a point where a person will have an altercation, irreparable altercations. So we have to always try to avoid creating that situation like that. So with that being said, I'm gonna cut this video a little short, because I'm gonna make a third part which is gonna expound more on that. But it literally stresses us to link with our ancestors, in this time, and interestingly enough, the metaphysical knowledge of yourself is what saves you in understanding who you are. And literally, when we get a divination, you have access to that. So for those who want to learn and know about their destiny, I stress to get a divination. And for those who are initiated, review your reading so you get a fresh reading. So I hope this information, at least of Odomila, gave you a little bit of understanding of what it is. This literally is a divination that reveals your past, present, future. This is information of your so-called Akashic records of or your essence. So I hope this video helped in your knowledge and gathering understanding, and there'll be a third part, and there'll be more videos coming up. Hashem blessings for everyone. Buru Bo Shoshe.